So we'll get going. So hi, everyone, and welcome to our very first Skate Ontario officials webinar. My name is Kelsey Bennett, for those of you who don't know me, and I am the manager of events and officials at Skate Ontario. Thank you so much for making the time this evening. We're so happy to see all of you on the call tonight. I know it's beautiful outside in most places in Ontario, so thank you. The idea behind the webinar is that we wanted to create an opportunity to address the entire officials community all together and give you an update on the state of the nation for Skate Ontario, as well as giving you as many specific officials details that we can at this point in time as they relate to COVID-19 and the upcoming 2020-21 season. You've probably seen that we've offered multiple webinars for clubs and coaches. We didn't forget about you. The reason is that the biggest unknown so far is about events. So we simply didn't have a lot of information for you until right now. So that's why we're bringing you all here today. So a few housekeeping items before we get started. So first off, as I think you guys have all done, please make sure you are on mute and that your camera is off. We will be recording the webinar tonight and it will be posted on our website in the next few days. So if you want to watch this again, or if there's someone that you know that was not able to make it tonight, they can watch it at a later time. We received some great questions leading up to the webinar that we will answer as best as we can this evening. We have also scheduled some time at the end of the webinar for questions. You'll be able to type in questions in the chat box at the very end, and we'll get to them at that point. Luckily for all of you, you're not going to listen to just me tonight. The webinar will start off with the State of the Nation from Lisa Alexander, and then I will share some updates about events and all the things we're going to be considering to make sure there's a safe return to competition for everyone involved. I will then pass it over to Theresa, Michelle, and Dia, and they will share with you more specific officials information for judges, technical officials, evaluators, data specialists, and event technicians. Alrighty, so let's get started. First off, really happy to introduce you to Lisa Alexander, Skate Ontario's Executive Director. As I said, she'll give you the current state of the nation for Skate Ontario, as there's been lots of activity in the last 10 days. All right, over to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Kelsey. Yeah, this has been very busy and exciting time for us because what feels like at long last, we have some skaters on the ice. So, you know, we've been able to take some baby steps. So I'm really happy to be here tonight and, you know, to have this opportunity to talk, you know, to start talking directly to our officials community as we move forward from here. So in case you haven't seen our town hall meetings or some of the other communications, I just want to give you a quick update on what's going on right now with skating. So first of all, the big announcement for this week, two big new things. So as per the Premier's announcement yesterday, we are officially changing the gathering size from 5 people to 10 people as of this Friday. And, you know, I think for most of you, you can understand that that is a big game changer for us to be able to have 10 people on a rink instead of just 5. So a big step in the right direction. And the other thing that we have done this week is we've also expanded the level of skaters that are going to be able to get on the rink. We've had some more clarity from the ministry on our ability to expand that. And, you know, what I can say is that the great thing is that we've had the past 2-ish weeks for our high performance skaters and their coaches to actually be able to test out safety protocols. And to see what it's going to feel like and what it's going to be like being on a rink with the new social distancing guidelines. And, you know, we've been so lucky to have feedback from those coaches. And, you know, for people who saw it last night, we had a Facebook Live where some of those coaches came on to tell the next group of people that will now be allowed on the ice going forward, sort of what it was like and give their advice. So 2 big things this week with gathering size and increasing the level of skaters. We are also at the same time working on those return to play guidelines, all the tools. Again, we got feedback from the coaches and also from some of the people in the clubs, and based on our little test, so that we are able to update all of those tools for our clubs and schools to be able to use to prepare to take more skaters onto the ice. But I think also more importantly, to go have conversations with the municipalities about getting more ice into more rinks. You know, now that we have a demonstrated procedures for a safe return to play. Just got our first emails today about a couple of municipalities where where we had people who were able to do presentations to the city, and where they're now going to be able to go ahead with getting some ice in. So hopefully we'll be able to get that on a bit of a roll and start to give that information to our clubs so that we can start to get some more ice in. And you know, I think that tonight, obviously, we're going to start to talk about, you know, where to from here. Kelsey said it, and I think it's you know, really important. Probably the thing that we still know, that we just absolutely know the least about, is what restrictions are going to be in place with regards to being able to deliver events, and also working our way towards assessment days for, you know, for those of you who are evaluators. And, you know, I can tell you that one of the things about return to play that will apply to all officials is there will be a new waiver in place. And, you know, I think the team will give you some more details about that, just to make sure that everybody understands that I think a lot of us will be signing a lot of waivers in the upcoming months, but, you know, so that people acknowledge that they understand that in anything that we do, that there's risk. So that'll be a new process that will apply to you guys as we work our way through this public health situation. And, you know, I think the other thing is that we're just really looking forward to working with, of course, you know, coaches and clubs, but very importantly, our entire officials community, as we start to get more information in the upcoming weeks and months, now that we've actually started to step into a reopening process, about where we go with events. And, you know, I've been emphasizing to all of our different stakeholder groups that we are not public health experts. You know, it's not a skating emergency, it's a public health emergency. And we really take it seriously that our role is, you know, to help, you know, advocate for the fact, you know, the importance of sport, and to help, you know, governments and municipality and everybody else understand that we want to restart skating and that we can do that safely. But I think it's also important, you know, to understand that we're about enabling, especially this year, we're going to be about enabling skaters to get back on the ice within public health guidelines. And, you know, we know that those skaters are going to want and need the performance, you know, check opportunities that all of you are a part of. And so we know those things won't necessarily look the same, but, you know, really looking forward to working our way through that, and what solutions we'll be able to deliver across the, you know, all across the province, knowing that everything might not be exactly equal this year, but we will, you know, we will deliver the options that we're able within public health guidelines. So yeah, I think we're really looking forward to working with you guys on that. And I think on that note, it's over to you, Kelsey.
All right, thanks so much, Lisa. We also have a special guest online tonight. So Karen Butcher, the Skate Ontario president, is here as well and wanted to say a few words. So over to you, Karen.
Thanks, Kelsey. I'll be brief. I just simply wanted to, on behalf of the Skate Ontario Board of Directors, thank everybody. It's a long list of people that joined tonight, and I'm sure more will be watching the recording, but it's great to see the interest in and continuing and getting back to our sport. And I'm sure you're all really interested in figuring out how we're going to do that safely. And that's the second part of my message. I want to thank Lisa and her team and all the volunteer committees as well that have been working so hard over the past weeks and months in order to ensure that we can go back and that programs keep on running, and that not only do our skaters get back on the ice in a safe fashion, but that our sport comes back as quickly as possible. Because I know there's a lot of parents out there that are looking forward to their kids doing something more than just being at home. And I know that includes us in that group as well. So I wish everybody the best, and I hope you're all staying safe. And I'll go back to being an official now and let Kelsey continue with the program.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Karen. All right. Okay, so I'm now going to give you a quick events overview. Currently, as I'm sure you're all aware, we've had to cancel the first 2 events in the sectional series. In considering the cancellation of events, we will have and will continue to look at events on an event-by-event basis. So Skate Ontario will make the go or no-go decision on whether an event will run 12 weeks prior to an event scheduled. It's really important that everyone knows that these decisions are made in consultation with coaches. Coaches were asked to identify an appropriate training period to allow skaters to train and be prepared to compete safely. This is also taken into account the timelines of skaters returning to the ice, as that has been varied across the province. These decisions are also made in consultation with the facilities, as the facilities become increasingly more important as we follow the requirements as stated in the state of emergency, and at each stage of the province's return to business plan. In preparing for this evening's webinar, we talked about a lot of different things, as there's so many important pieces of information that we want to share with all of you. But one piece of information that we really want you to leave with tonight is that we want all of you to feel assured that your safety is our priority and that we are committed to that. Like Lisa said, this is not a skating emergency, it's a public health emergency. We are adapting skating to public health. We will continue to follow the current health officials' requirements and directives, as it is our desire to make our sport safe for everyone involved. Social gathering size restrictions clearly have a huge impact on events. We currently do not have information or timelines on social gathering restrictions and what that might look like in the future. We are currently working on and working through various event format options that could possibly work at different social gathering work at different social gathering size stages. However, as COVID-19 continues to be a fluid situation, it has made it difficult to work through exactly what this season will look like. And we don't have all those details for you tonight. However, what we can share with you at this point are the safety considerations we are making as we work towards our own Skate Ontario return to competition protocols. So the following considerations will be in compliance with regulations set out for physical distancing methods, health and safety regulations, size of permitted gatherings, Skate Ontario and Skate Canada rules, policies, and procedures, all safe sport policies and procedures, and any applicable occupational health and safety requirements. So these considerations include the judge stand. I know a lot of you have asked questions about that. So we will consider the number of people on the stand and the space in between each person. Hospitality, so how will food on site be managed? The amount of time an official will be at an event. Accommodations, so single versus double occupancy. The flow of traffic through the facility, making sure that that's safe. The number of spectators, considering officials wearing masks and gloves, cleaning protocols for computers, mouse pads, headsets, mics, radios, etc., and that equipment being used in between different users. Ultimately, we are working towards a return to competition protocol that will be shared with all Skate Ontario stakeholders. Once the return to competition protocol has been finalized and published, we have discussed hosting additional webinars just like this to make sure you have all the information that you need as officials. The last item that I wanted to talk to this group about before I pass it off to the others is that we also want you to know that at any time this season, if you have said that you're available to officiate an event but you no longer feel comfortable attending an event, we want to make sure the community, the officials community, feels totally comfortable to let us know, and that will never impact assignments for you in the future. We really don't want to put any official in a situation that makes you feel uncomfortable. For now, that completes the events update, and I'm now going to pass it over to Theresa, one of our Skate Ontario officials. So over to you, Theresa.
Thank you, Kelsey. Hi, everyone. Tonight I'm going to speak to areas within my portfolio: judges, technical officials, and a little bit later, event technicians. Although the status of all events is unknown at this time, Skate Ontario is moving ahead as though they will be happening. In regards to judges and technical officials, the timeline that was used last year for events is being adjusted a bit. The JET committee has already reviewed the sectional series availability survey results and have determined the invitation list for those competitions. Invitees were determined based on location of competition, as well as keeping in mind developmental needs of the official, as well as what is best for the skater, since there will be limited competitions at this level. Assignments for the sectional series will be sent out once an event is determined to be a go. Like Kelsey said, this occurs 12 weeks out from the competition start date. Time will be of the essence, so there will be a short turnaround time, 7 days, for you to submit your responses. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated, and I ask you to please respond promptly to your invitation to a sectional series competition. The timeline for invitations for Synchro, Super, and Star 1 to 4 series have yet to be determined. More information will follow in the coming weeks. Three availability surveys will be sent out later this week, one seeking tech reps, another seeking interest for the Synchro series, as well as a survey for all competitions that occur in November and December. That includes both Super Series and Star 1 to 4 series. For competitions that will occur in 2021, availability surveys will be sent out the beginning of July. Once again, I ask that you kindly complete these surveys before the deadline, as this ensures that the timeline for events can be followed. As far as training opportunities, I know many of you have indicated interest in attending clinics. We have been looking into offering clinics online, as the material, method of delivery, and lengths of clinics are governed by Skate Canada. We are awaiting communication from them in the next couple of weeks regarding the offering of clinics. Those looking at attending competitions for trial judging opportunities, this is one of the areas we have yet to confirm. Please stay tuned for more information to follow. Requirements to officiate in any capacity this year, whether it be at a competition, no matter the level, or providing monitoring, the following must have been completed. Respect in sport, this must be completed every 3 years. Code of ethics, this must be completed annually. Rowan's Law, there has been a change in the government requirements, and this too must now be completed annually. All training can be found on your Skate Canada membership site in the e-learning portion. Unfortunately, if you are having issues logging into the Skate Canada membership site, I do not have access to this, and you will need to contact member services at Skate Canada. Please note, do not complete the Rowan's Law module before July 1st, as there are some changes that need to occur in order for the completion to be recorded properly. Unfortunately, for those that have already completed the module, it will have to be done after July 1st. I kindly ask that the Code of Ethics and Rowan Laws modules be completed before the beginning of each skating season, September 1st. This way, everyone is on the same cycle and it makes my job easier for tracking purposes. If you are not sure what modules you have yet to complete, please log into your Skate Canada profile and the information can be found there. Do not hesitate to contact me should you be having any difficulties. Last but not least, your health and safety is very important to us. Should you have indicated that you are available and later on do not feel comfortable attending an event, please reach out to me. Skate Ontario wants you to feel totally comfortable when officiating in any capacity. Your decision to pull out will never impact future assignments. We do not want to put any official in a situation where they are not comfortable. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Theresa, for that information. I just want to remind everyone that we do have a question period at the end, and you'll be able to type in your questions. So you can write them in now, but we'll just answer them at the end of the webinar. All right, so next up we have Michelle Hensley, who's our staff lead for data specialists. So over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Kelsey. It is so nice to see everyone, even if it's in name only. I think most of us are craving human interaction beyond the four walls of our homes right now. Thank you to all the data specialists who are on this call. Almost 2/3 of our Ontario DS are participating this evening, so welcome. I just want to take a few minutes to provide some updates specific to data specialists. DS assignments have been completed for sectional series number 3 and 4 and the sectional championships, and the assigned DS have been notified. If any of these events are canceled, I will reach out to the assigned DS to confirm that they are aware of the cancellation. The availability survey for Synchro, Super, and Star 1 to 4 events through to December will go out by the end of this week, and there will be a 1-week turnaround to complete the survey. Thank you in advance for your prompt attention. The availability survey for the rest of the season will go out in the beginning of July. As already mentioned, if you are assigned to an event, but your availability changes, or if you are uncomfortable or unsure about being in this setting, that is absolutely no problem. I speak for Skate Ontario staff and the board and the DS committee when I say we will support your decision and will welcome you back when you are available again. A reminder that the requirements for the Skate Canada Code of Ethics, Respect in Sport, and Rowan's Law is the same for data specialists as it is for JET officials. Code of Ethics and Rowan's Law must be updated annually, and Respect in Sport every 3 years. As Theresa said, completing Rowan's Law annually is a new change. You must complete these before your first assignment if they are outstanding, preferably at the beginning of the season. It is not necessary to send proof of compliance, as we have the ability to check this. I will send you an email if you are not in compliance before your first event, and you will need to complete them ASAP. We know that the safety and well-being of officials, skaters, coaches, and all stakeholders is of the utmost importance to you. I want to reiterate what has been said thus far on this webinar. Discussions and plans are ongoing as we prepare to start our event season, hopefully sooner rather than later. As data specialists, we are paying particular attention to judge stand layouts and the sanitizing of all equipment, including laptops, mice, headsets, cables, power cords, etc. This may include sanitizing equipment several times daily and between users, assigning some equipment to officials for the entire event, the use of gloves, particularly for setup and teardown, face masks, etc. Many options are being considered for headsets. We are also considering transportation, accommodations, hospitality, traffic flow, and so much more. We are also discussing how we can best support our data specialists at this time and at events in whatever format they take. I welcome your suggestions and encourage you to share your concerns. What we can guarantee to you is that when we have more concrete plans and protocols, we will share them. We anticipate that with each stage of the provincial reopening, we will need to update these plans. We have planned one level 1 and one level 2 clinic this season. At this time, we still plan to hold these clinics with the dates to be determined. It was, and still is our intention to provide more training and development opportunities for data specialists at events this season across the province. Again, this is still the goal within public health guidelines. When there is more concrete information, we will share it. We have begun to brainstorm how we may offer development opportunities on online platforms, particularly if there are limited opportunities at events. If you have some ideas, please share them. The Data Specialist Committee has been working on some training documents, which will be available on the Skate Ontario DS SharePoint by the end of the week. These include judge stand layout, LTS setup, and networking laptops. If you are not able to access the SharePoint site, please contact me directly. And finally, if you have any ideas or suggestions or questions, please feel free to reach out to me after this presentation. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle, for all those great updates. Some of you may be wondering what's happening with evaluators. Well, Dia is here tonight, one of our officials coordinators, and she will give you all the information about that. Over to you, Dia.
Great. Thank you, Kelsey. It's great to have you all join us this evening. I hope you've been well in these truly different times. I'll be covering a few updates regarding evaluating and assessment days. Skate Ontario will be phasing in assessment days with a current return of August 15th. Stay tuned for further details. Your safety is our priority, and we're in development of safety measures for assessment days. Once they are complete, they will be added to our return to play protocols. Should you not feel comfortable assessing when assessment days return, please let me know by sending me an email, and I'll ensure that opportunities are available to you when you're ready to return. As has been mentioned, a component to our return to assessments will include ensuring that you have your code of ethics, Rowan's Law and respect and sport requirements completed and up to date. As been mentioned, Rowan's Law is now an annual requirement. Should you have any questions about what the status of your qualification is, please visit your Skate Canada profile for further information. As Theresa mentioned, the e-learning portion contains the information of those modules. As a component of a return to assessments, we want to ensure that we're best able to service the number of clubs that we have that will require assessment days. Since we're unsure of what the current state of that will be, we may look at implementing a maximum number of assessment days per club from October to December. This is to ensure the greatest number of assessment days may be serviced during this time frame. Further details on maximums will be communicated closer to the fall. We're also excited to be developing webinars and training opportunities using our digital platforms as part of our return to assessments. If you have specific topics that you would like to have covered, please send me your suggestions. Further information on opportunities will be communicated in the JET newsletter and in the evaluator section under officials on our website. You may have seen in the JET newsletter that the Star 6 to Gold revised modules are here. If you've not already completed these modules, we would love if you would consider completing them now. A reminder of the revised modules that are currently available are the Star 6 to Gold Training Introduction, Skills, Artistic, and Dance, with Free Skate on its way shortly. These revised modules are now available in the Skate Canada e-learning site. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. The Star 6 to Gold Training revised modules do include the Training Introduction module no longer has an exam. The curriculums are condensed. There's simplified assessment standards and process, a more user-friendly training experience based on your feedback, and an improved assessment sheets that include more information. Please note that the Star 6 to Gold assessment content has not changed. If you've completed prior Star 6 to Gold courses, your achievements will remain the same in your Skate Canada membership profile. You may have been contacted this spring prior to the pandemic about mentored assessments and providing co-evaluations. When our assessment days return, and in accordance with our return to play protocols, social distancing, and our group gathering size restrictions, you may be contacted to provide a co-evaluation by a coach assessor or evaluator candidate. Initial priorities for group sizes will be geared towards skaters, but we hope to complete as many mentored assessments that are currently in process. New candidates coming on board will be paired in the fall and will be either contacted by myself or by Amanda Montgomery if they're a coach assessor. We're working on some communication tools and some technology pieces to help with finding assessment days easier and with including which assessments are being conducted where. Hopefully this will help in both yourself and candidates finding these opportunities. Totally lost my spot. New evaluators, like as I mentioned, will be coming into the fall. And if you have any questions about providing a co-evaluation or what that may entail, please reach out to me with any questions that you may have. Good news is on the horizon as well in our assessment days scheduling world. We're planning to move to a technology piece that will improve communicating availabilities, scheduling, and confirmations in a swift manner for all parties. We're very excited to be bringing this to you. It will also provide the opportunity for you to provide general availability and help in finding evaluators and connecting you to other opportunities. There'll be lots of information to come on how this technology piece will be working and what you'll need to do, including training on how to use it. Don't be scared, it's pretty easy and it should make life easier all around. If you have any questions about assessment days or evaluating co-evaluations or mentored assessment pathways, or you know other great volunteers that would like to be evaluators, please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Kelsey, over to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Dia. All right, last but not least, I'm going to pass it back to Theresa, and she's going to give the event technician update. Over to you.
Thanks, Kelsey. Hello to the event technicians that are on tonight. You're an important part of the team as well. You keep our events rolling. You too will have changes to the processes that you have been used to. We do not have the answers yet. However, we are working on them. Online music registration is the plan for all events that are by the event technicians group. Skaters will now have the capacity to change their uploaded music up to a predetermined date before the competition. That date is yet to be determined. This would replace the use of music CDs at these events. With this change, CDs would no longer be registered at a music registration table. This would apply to all disciplines. The details of this process, as well as the provision for music backup copies, are currently being worked on and will be communicated to all prior to the start of the season. We are also looking at ways to implement a procedure to proactively review submitted music in advance of the event to identify any potential issues in time for corrective action to be taken, and the handling of music issues during the event. Again, the details of these processes will be communicated to all prior to the start of the season. For the announcers, we are looking at ways to make your time at events safe as well. This includes, like Michelle mentioned, the sanitization of computers, mouse, and microphones. The details of these processes will be communicated to all prior to the start of the season. If you're not sure what competitions are being supported by the Event Technicians Group, they can be found on the Skate Ontario website under Officials, then under Event Technicians, and lastly, click Availability and Assignments. As in the past, Ross and Paul will be handling the assignment process for the event technicians for those events that are supported by the team. They will follow the same timeline for sectional series events. When a competition is deemed to go, they will reach out to their respective team. Stay tuned for more information regarding the timeline for those Super Series events that are supported. Feel free to reach out to me with any suggestions or feedback that you may have. Last but not least, your health and safety is very, very important to us. Should you have indicated that you are available and later on do not feel comfortable attending an event, please reach out to Ross or Paul. Skate Ontario wants you to feel totally comfortable when you are officiating at all. Your decision to pull out will never impact future assignments. We do not want to put any official in a situation where they do not feel comfortable. Back to you, Kelsey.
All right, thank you, Theresa. Okay, so a few closing items, and then we'll get to your questions. So in terms of next steps, when we get closer to opening up events and we have completed the return to competition protocols, we are committed, like I said before, to having specific officials Zoom calls with updates on that specific protocol and how it relates to you. In addition, once we know an event is a go, we will organize a pre-event call to make sure everyone is aware of the protocols and feeling comfortable. How to keep in touch. Please make sure, as there's lots of information that is getting published now, to make sure that you're receiving our communication, the newsletters. You can always see updates on our website, so on the news page or even on the officials section of the website. You can also stay up to date on our social media, and of course by reaching out to any of us directly by email or the phone. Always happy to talk through things with you. Skate Ontario has been really active with hosting Facebook Lives as well for the entire community to attend. So you can go back and look at the past town halls on our YouTube channel and stay tuned for more. I'm sure we'll host a few more. We also have a COVID section on the website, so please feel free to look through that and stay up to date on all the information. Something different, but a reminder that tomorrow night, in the spirit of lots of Facebook Lives and Zoom things happening, there's a coach's corner tomorrow night that you as officials might be interested in attending, and you're all invited to it. So there will be some special guests, Andrea Derby and Lorraine, who will be online talking about judging and technical updates for singles and pairs for the upcoming season. That's tomorrow night, so Wednesday, June 10th at 7:30 p.m. So I believe you were all sent that information. So we're hoping that you can make that tomorrow as well. All right, so I think that covers all of the information updates that we wanted to cover with you this evening. So I'm just going to open up the questions. So feel free to, at the lower part of your screen, you'll see a chat box. And so you can click on that and then just write questions in there for us and we will answer them for you. I think those are some technical questions at first. Okay, so Melissa had asked the question, so she said, regardless of what the province's directives are, will the 12-week period still apply, i.e. is this in the interim policy or will this stand for the 2021 period? This is a great question. We're just working on that right now for the sectional series, and we'll let you know if anything changes. So that's what we're operating with right now, and if anything changes, again, we'll make sure to let everyone know. Okay, so Brooks asked the question, are you considering spares for events in case someone screens positive close to the event date? That's a really great idea and something that we can definitely keep on the table. I think that's something really interesting. This one's over to Dia, if you want to come back on, Dia. Will there be a new evaluators clinic happening soon?
Yes, we're working with Skate Canada. There's some requirements that were built to be in-person requirements, so we're working with them to see what we can move to a digital platform and what components of the new evaluator training, which will need to remain somewhat in person. So they are kind of swamped like we all are, but we're just working through that and we hope to have an update in the next few weeks.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Dia.
Yep.
Okay, so Lisa Ann asked, any thoughts on how to do callbacks for manual entries? Usually requires close contact, especially when loud. Does anyone want to speak to that one, Michelle?
Yeah, sure. So yes, Lisa, we're definitely also talking about that. In my long list of things that we have to think about, I have included that. So thank you for bringing it up. I don't have the answer as of yet, but yeah, we'll be considering it.
Awesome. Jan, hi Jan. She asked the question, I think this one, if Theresa, you could get ready for this one. Will coaches who've already done their code of ethics be required to do it again as officials? Is this the same as Rowan's Law?
So for both of those, for Code of Ethics and Rowan's Law, for both coaches as well as for officials, they need to be completed annually. So again, if you could complete that prior to September 1st, that would be great. It just makes the job for tracking throughout the season easier. Just a reminder, as mentioned earlier, for Rowan's Law, the capacity right now is not complete within the Skate Canada e-learning for it to recognize that you've completed the module a second time, so that we ask that you do not complete until after July 1st. So yes, but once you complete, if you've already completed it once, it counts for both. It's not like you have to complete a code of ethics. There's a code of ethics for officials and there's a code of ethics for coaches. Those are different. So you do have to make sure that you do complete both as you are a coach. But for Rowan's Law, it is the same module, so you would only need to complete it once. I hope that answers your question.
I think that did. Okay, so maybe Lisa, you can help me with this one. Trevor asked, are we looking at other countries and what they are doing? Those countries that might be further along in opening up. Do you want to answer that one?
Yes. We are indeed. And I think as much as any of us have been lucky in this situation, we were lucky with the time of year for skating, and we're also lucky that, being behind some of the other places in the world where they're already working on return to play protocols, and also where they have started to run some events. We're absolutely pulling in that information, as well as talking to Skate Canada and also, of course, the other sections. And we've been lucky that when people see updates, they've been sending us the information. So if you see something and it looks good, please, everybody, keep doing that, right? We keep talking about how this is really unprecedented and we're learning as we go. So if you see something that looks great and you've got suggestions on documents from elsewhere, send them over.
Awesome. Okay, Amanda, are you going to have officials screened before competitions or anything like that, or require them to be isolated for 2 weeks? Probably no. We're not. As we've said before, we will follow health guidelines. Unless you're traveling overseas and you come to a competition, that would be when that would apply, right, Lisa? But in general, we're looking at all those things and we'll follow what we need to, but over to you.
What I can tell you is, as we keep saying, we'll follow the public health guidelines. I can tell you that what we are requiring right now for every session where anybody goes in, so coaches, choreographers, and skaters are obviously the people who are going now, and in future it will include officials, is we are doing a health screening on the way in every session. And we are also doing a full tracking of who is in the arena every session and what time they were there. So that in case we ever do have a positive case of COVID, that we have a record of who exactly was where and at what time they were there for the purposes of contact tracing. So I imagine that will we'll be taking that, continue to be doing that.
And then Lisa, just to add to that, Melissa had another question about what the health screening does include. If you wanted to sort of direct her to where she can find that.
I don't have it right in my hot little hands, but if you go look on our website under the COVID-19 information page, there's a return to play protocols basically square that has all of those resources in there. So what we are using for the health screening questionnaire is we're using, we've modeled it off of the government's form. So as they, we continue to go back and look at that, and as they change standards and update what they are using, you can go do the online health screening. We're basically following those guidelines.
Perfect. Paul and Judy asked the question, will competitions possibly go more paperless as that creates less touch points? As I said, although, it's a great consideration, and that's a great idea. Would love to do more of that. Anybody else, Michelle or Theresa, want to speak to that further? I kind of jumped on that one, sorry, team. Okay. I think, Hazel, we spoke to your question about considering asking everyone to get tested prior to an event. I don't know if you want to touch more on, I think you kind of got that one covered, or feel free.
I just think in general, we will consider anything that public health asks us to consider, you know, and I'm seeing some other questions here, you know, about, you know, stuff about ventilation and would people get, you know, etc. We are not the public health experts. What we're here to do is make sure that safety is our #1 concern and that we stay on top of those guidelines. And we're here to facilitate skating, but within those guidelines. You know, like the ventilation question, for instance, you know, I've been working with the other ice sports, and we're actually working with the Ontario Recreation Facilities Association. So that question of ventilation is something that I can confirm to you that the facilities are all over. They have, you know, they have to work, it's the responsibility of the facilities to work very closely with all of the local public health units. And you should see their, you know, their safety opening checklist. I can assure you that it's incredibly thorough. And from our conversation, I was actually on this week with the technical director of ORFA, that Ontario Recreation Facilities Association. And that whole question of ventilation and making sure that the HVACs are working properly and all that stuff is something that, you know, that's their expertise. And I can assure you that the facilities are working on that.
Perfect. Okay, so another question. Are you considering regional considerations? Example, if health units have a high COVID cases, will you restrict officials from those areas from traveling to other areas?
I would say, are we getting sick of my same answer yet? I can tell you absolutely, if that is a recommendation, and if there's a recommendation that people stop traveling within Ontario, we will follow that. And, you know, you heard Kelsey say at the beginning, it's something that Skate Canada has been talking a lot too, just remembering that this isn't about us making up standards. And, you know, and this is a public health situation. So we will take guidance from there, but we will take it seriously. And, you know, I think, you know, I hope people have seen evidence so far from the way that we've handled our return to play protocols and the steps that we have taken so far, that we are dedicated to making sure that skating keeps moving forward, that we show that we are good, responsible partners, that our community will work together to take careful steps. And so I think if we ever hear any recommendation or any information about that, we will 100%, you know, follow information and follow instructions as we receive them.
Absolutely. I don't see any other questions here. Anybody else have further questions? Oh, you know what? I do have one other question that was submitted earlier. Sorry.
See, I have an answer to something on here as well.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Well, yes. Please go ahead.
Somebody, if you find that you don't think you're receiving correspondence from us, or it's been missed, please do reach out to who's ever the staff lead. So for sure, for judges and technical officials or event technicians, myself, Michelle for DS, or evaluators to DIA, and then we can just clear up to see what why you're not receiving our correspondence.
Perfect. Thanks, Theresa. Okay, so there was a question that was emailed to us before. So the question is, how does Skate Ontario plan to accommodate number of skates for sectional series now that 2 of the 4 events have been canceled, keeping in mind officials' availability? So basically at this point, we are looking at all the options for the sectional series qualification. We are looking specifically at the categories that really have to qualify to sectionals. So in the past 2 years, there's been pre-novice and junior women. So we are going to explore a couple different scenarios there, and we will look for input from different stakeholder groups such as coaches and officials. So at this point, we are not exploring adding any additional events as part of the sectional series. Any events that take place would happen within the existing calendar of the announced events with a revised qualifications process for sectionals. I hope that that answers the question for you guys. Okay. Okay, so Melissa, okay, so your question is also, what about our province assignment availability? Are we limited based on a province perspective or a regional perspective? I mean, I would just go back to what Lisa said as well, right, for all that stuff. So we're taking all those health considerations into play and follow those recommendations. So if that's what's recommended, then we would consider that. But yeah, exactly. All right, well, thank you for all the great questions. And as we've said, obviously you know how to reach all of us. Jocelyn, your question is, how concerned is Skate Ontario about officials being in higher risk groups? I mean, I think it's really clear this evening that that is, you know, safety is our priority here. And so that's, you know, why, you know, we're committed for every single stakeholder and person involved in figure skating. So absolutely. Okay, so I think that covers it for this evening. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming on the call tonight. We're really excited to kick off this webinar series. Lisa, do you want to say some final?
No, I just want to say thank you again. We're, you know, baby steps. You know, we're happy with how we're moving forward. You know, we've been getting some good feedback on the return to play protocols and how they're working so far. So, you know, we're really excited to continue to work on that and really to obviously start to work more with you as we're able to get these athletes on the ice. So thanks so much for your patience, and you know, we will continue to move forward and figure this out. And I really hope to, well, see you soon. Maybe actually in a rink. That would be great.
Yeah, soon. Excellent. All right. Enjoy your evening, everyone, and take care. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.